Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Amar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving the future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Joe Wakeland, founder of Financial Savvy Limited, and the UK's head money coach for busy professionals who want to take charge of their finances, break free from debt, and retire on their own terms. Joe has combined a scientific eye for detail and a passion for personal finance to turn financial chaos into freedom for clients nationwide. Joe, welcome to Founders Future.
Thanks for having me, Emma. Glad to be here.
I'm excited to dive in.
Me
I
too.
want to start from the beginning. So take me back to before you started Financial Savvy. What were you doing before? And then what really motivated you to start the company?
Yeah, so my background, as you alluded to in your intro, actually, my background is in science. That's what I qualified as, why I studied at university. And I progressed from there to project management in research and development. So I've always just been very kind of process driven and super like analytical. And whilst starting my career out of uni, which I thought was going to be quite like not like lucrative, I suppose is a strong word, but like I thought I'd have a decent income from it, having studied and got a degree in forensics and things like that. And it turned out it just wasn't the case. Like the role that I thought I was going to get to wasn't the reality that I was living. And when I was 24, so I was 2 years into my first kind of real proper job out of university, I got a letter from my workplace pension provider at the corporation I worked for, telling me that I was on track to be able to retire at the age of 82 if I
Wow.
continued to contribute at the rate I was. And that was to get a 20 grand a year
Yes.
income in retirement. And I remember, obviously, this was like 24-year-old me, right, being told I was going to have to work for another 58 years. So I remember looking at that thinking, that's not what I thought this whole like go to university, get a job, work until you retire, and then have a good income in retirement thing was going to pan out to be. Like, this is terrifying. What am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
And that was like I suppose, what kind of kickstarted, lit the fire initially, right? For me to start looking into things about money management, investing, retirements, pensions, and all that kind of stuff. And being obviously the analytically driven and yeah, like data driven person I was like with the background that I had, I was like, I need to start measuring and tracking this stuff. I need to start figuring out my finances. I need to start learning about investing. And that kind of was like 2 years of just floating around, not really sure what I need to learn. There's just so much information out there. And then as I then met or got together with my then girlfriend, who's now my wife, Haley, and we were like obviously looking forward on our future, wanting to start a family and things like that, I really just got to a point where I just wanted to make sure that future was as good and financially secure as possible, which I think a lot of people generally, but I think especially men when they've got a family and a child to provide for, is like some instincts kick in. I need to make sure we're okay, like the provider instinct. And I just decided, right, enough is enough now. I'm tired of just floating around trying to figure things out. I need to actually make something happen. Started documenting my journey on like a blog, and that kind of transformed into Twitter. Found this community like Money Twitter at the time during lockdown, where
Yeah.
everyone was just finding ways of making money online and things like that. And initially, I just started doing that, really, like I said, to just track my journey. So there was like a record of what I was learning, so it might help other people.
Yeah.
And then people just start naturally reaching out to you, like, oh, I saw you're doing this. Your spreadsheet looks really good. Can you help me with this? I need to make a decision about, I don't know, like what to invest or what to do with my student loans or whatever. And I found I was actually able to answer those questions and quickly realized that just by having been looking into this by that point for 4 or 5 years, that I was in a position where I just knew more than most other people. So I put together a course initially, like just a simple ebook and a spreadsheet with, yeah, like the Excel that I'd built. And then that got me to a place where I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'll actually get the comfort, like security, flexibility I wanted for like my wife and I and our daughter, like just to be able to spend more time together and things like that. Then I needed to go all in on this and actually make something happen. So threw a load of money at someone to help me learn how to build like a coaching program, because obviously that's not my background, right? I'm a
Yeah.
scientist. I needed to learn how to market and sell and coach and all of these kind of things. So did that. That was back in 2022, January
Right.
2023, and then launched the program. And that's what I've been running ever since.
That is awesome. So are you full-time into this right now?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
have been since June 2023 was my last day at the 9 to 5. Yeah.
Congrats, man. I bet
Thanks.
that was I don't want to assume. How was that transitioning from the 9 to 5 to going full-time into this?
Nerve-wracking, I think, to put it politely.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, I think I've always been, I suppose, because of my background, like I didn't grow up with much. Like my parents were like hardworking, but I grew up on a council estate in the UK. We didn't never had reams of money, like regular
Yeah.
holidays weren't really a thing and stuff like that. So I'd always been like scared of not having money, scared of running out of money. So I was always like going through that transition then of moving from a comfortable, secure job, like well respected, pretty like certain job security, thought I'd just be there forever, to giving all of that up. I was like, I'm not just going to do that, which I think a lot of people do, full respect to them. But I was like, I need to know that I can replace my income plus my benefits plus my pension, like
Hmm.
at least twice over
Wow.
every month. Otherwise, I don't feel like comfortable, like secure doing this and putting my family at that risk, especially. So I said to my wife in January 2023, I said, I'm launching this company. I'm going to start trying to take on clients now. If I can double my 9 to 5 income for the next 3 months in a row, back to back, then I'm going to hand in my notice in March. And then I did it. And then I had to go to my wife and say, I've done it. And she said, you need to hand in your notice. And I think that was like the confirmation of I actually do. I just need to make this happen. And it was scary, but
Yeah.
best decision we ever made.
That's awesome, man. Congrats for that.
Thank
And
you.
it's awesome to have somebody in your corner that's rooting for you and
Yeah.
supportive of that. Walk me through, I'd love to give the listeners more context into what financial savvy looks like today. Start me off with who would you say is your ideal customer? Who do you love to work with?
Oh, that's a good one. I love to work with those people who, generally speaking, the ideal like client or student of mine is like kind of mid-career professional who's got to that point now where they're earning reasonably good money. They've got maybe like a young family and they're starting to realize that they don't want to or maybe can't mentally face the prospect of doing this job until they are in their 60s and 70s and they want to get stuff in place. Maybe they've got a little money behind them or don't, doesn't really matter too much. And they just want to make sure that's working hard for them, that the money they work really hard for is working just as hard for them and going to good use against a proper plan for their future, and that they've got like a real concrete plan in place, like a step-by-step plan in place for achieving a comfortable earlier retirement or like financial freedom in the shortest time frame possible, like within reason, and balancing that with maintaining a life and having memories and experiences and getting fulfillment out of spending time with their family in that time as well. So those, yeah, I'd say mid-career professionals, busy professionals who just don't want to be facing the prospect of working the role they're in now forever.
100%. So it sounds like you and you were first starting in a sense,
Yeah.
but maybe they're on the older side as well. Walk me through what do the core offers look like today? So if somebody's listening to this and they identify with what you just said, what does it look like to work with you?
Yeah, so like I said, initially I kickstarted this with literally just an ebook and a spreadsheet, and that's taken a natural evolution to now kind of working people through that process that I put in that ebook, but one on one. Because what I realized was that I think courses are great as if you use them. That's the first floor of a course is that I think something like, I don't know what the stats are, 60, 70% of people don't ever actually start a course, let alone finish it. If you use them, they're great, but often they're generalized. So they can only get you to they can only get you so far before you've got a certain set of circumstances and you don't know how to apply these like best practices or principles to that set of circumstances, especially when it comes to finances, right? Because it can get really complicated, especially when you're then getting into like how to be tax efficient with that and so on and so forth. So what I did was I took that overall like process that I had ended up following almost by accident myself over a period of like 9 years now and formalize that into a structured step-by-step process to just obviously eliminating the guesswork and the ambiguity, the costly mistakes that I'd made across along the way. And I built out a system now for people to follow. So when you come and work with me, We will work together for 9 months. You will get access to a 7 phase video course, which basically walks you through everything you need to do step by step to take control of your money, get a money management system in place, eliminate your debt, all the tools you need to do that, how to invest for financial freedom, the principles to apply, again, tools for doing that, tracking it, measuring it, applying it to your circumstances, and so on. That's kind of like the first pillar of the program. The second pillar is the roadmap, which is where the kind of real value and like customization element kicks in. So it's where I come along and I build your plan for you, but with you. So what we're going to do is once you've kind of data gathered, like the information I need about your circumstances, so I understand what your situation you're in, you and I are then going to have a series of one-on-one calls where we're going to map out your plan for achieving your specific goals, and we're going to tailor that plan to your specific circumstances. So the idea of that series of calls is just to remove all of the guesswork for you, all of the ambiguity, the fear of making those mistakes that I make and most people make when they try and do this themselves, and just break down step by step what it is you need to do, but not only what it is you need to do and how to do it, also how long it's then for going to take, because we got such a deep understanding of your specific finances, and the principles we're going to apply are all broken down in these tools. They do all the kind of like heavy lifting and the maths for us. So we're going to know exactly how long it's going to take for you to achieve each one of those goals so that you can start looking forward on your future with that kind of like certainty, clarity, and excitement about where you're going to be. And that's the real kind of game changer, aside from the financial stuff of to be gained from this, which is obviously nice. It's the peace of mind of just finally knowing what your future looks like and what you need to do to get there and how long it's going to take. Because most people, when they look forward on their future, are filled with not much more than uncertainty and probably a bit of dread. So
Yeah.
it is a nice position to be in. And then we also have a community where you get like one-on-one access to me via a private one-on-one chat channel for that period of 9 months. You can fire me questions 24 hours a day. We do monthly money challenges, weekly group coaching calls, and things like that as well. So really taking people from where they are now to exactly where they want to be, building out the plan to show them how and what to do and how long it's going to take as well.
Powerful. So it sounds like it's a very well-structured program in terms of how they can go from their current situation to their desired situation as fast as possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I have a lot of coaches that listen to this. I'd love to kind of shift things to the back end of the business. When it comes to customer acquisition, lead generation, marketing, what do you do to bring on more students inside of your program?
Yeah, the strategy right now, obviously, is ever evolving and it's changed somewhat since I launched this and it was literally just me doing it. Everything was basically purely organic coming through X, DMs, and things like that, because that's where I initially built my audience. But I suppose in the last 6 months has been the biggest shift. And now client acquisition consists of content still and people messaging me in the DMs, and then I have someone who like helps nurture them through to potentially booking a call if it makes sense for them, and then seeing if the program is a fit for them, right? But largely client acquisition now is through online live events which we run,
Well,
generally maybe like monthly. We'll run a live event where I'll walk people through what it is we do, how the program works. Like I give a lot of background and like I give away a lot of value on these events as well. I think it's important so people can see it's legit around how this system works and like literally the step by step they need to follow and what the outcomes they can expect at the end of it. And then at the end of that, we pitch the course, so the video course element of the program. And then through doing that, they book a call with us and then we speak to them to see if the one-on-one coaching would be a fit for them. And if it is, we let them know how that works. And then we either do or don't onboard them from there.
okay, very cool. And I'm curious, how do you drive traffic to these live events?
Yeah, good question. So largely now just through Facebook and Instagram ads.
Okay, nice. And then is it basically just an opt-in funnel where it's like, hey, sign up for this live event, it's coming up next week or next month, whatever. And then,
Yeah, literally that. So we do generally, like for the most part, it's Facebook and Instagram Reels, like the format of the ads.
yeah.
They pop over like in people's, yeah, like Reels feed or in their stories. And it's, yeah, generally like a hook into you're paying too much in advisor fees or something along those lines to capture the attention, but about things that like people are relating to and the problems they're having and the struggles they're experiencing with finance and the things we know we have like the solution to obviously is important. And then it's a case of I'm running an event where I'm going to break down how all of this works, and then it's yeah, get them into get them to opt in on a funnel where there's like another video talking more about it, and then we run the live event, and then all flows through from there.
Nice. Very cool. Do you have setters that call the opt-ins if they don't come in? Is there a team of closers that takes the calls? What does that look like?
Yeah, so how the team's structured right now. So I'm fortunate I've got a really great team. I think fate is a funny thing that kind of like the right person came to me at the right time. But I've got a great business partner, a guy called Romeo, who basically manages the kind of back end team for me. And that consists of a setter who manages like Instagram, X, and Facebook DMs. They'll also reach out to people like either leading up to the event if they're reaching out to us. If people don't attend the event, occasionally they'll reach out and follow up to find out why and things like that. And then we have a dialer as well. So someone who dials people if they do book a call with us, just to check in, check they're okay for the time they've booked, and just to bring the stats up, basically. Do a little bit of pre-qualification as well, make sure that this is actually going to be worth their time and ours. And then we have right now, we've got two closers who then handle obviously
Nice.
the sales calls.
Nice. Okay, very cool. So Romeo, it sounds like does he handle the marketing and the sales side, and then you handle the fulfillment and you're the face of the company? How do you
Pretty
go?
much exactly that. Yeah, pretty much spot on. Yeah. So he takes care of that as well as some growth strategy as well. So coming up with new ideas of like how to grow it even beyond where we are right now.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm curious now that you have this in place, what does the future look like for you? Where do you want to take financial savvy or financially savvy? What are your goals, let's say over the next 12 to 24 months for the company?
That's a great question. I'm really fortunate in that I've always been so engrossed in actually the helping of the people because it's something that is benefited like this system is something I built from the ground up myself. It's benefited me and my family massively. And now I'm so like fortunate enough where I get to help other people do the same things for them and their families. So I've always been so caught up in that sometimes I forget that I need to adopt that business and growth and like entrepreneurial mindset of, okay, how do I ensure this continues to grow so that I can continue to help people and maybe even help people better, get them results faster, better results faster, and so on, so long. And that's exactly why I bought on Romeo because or basically my like growth operator, so that they can check in with me and make sure we're focusing on that stuff. But the targets right now, the future, what does that look like? Quite frankly, the last year has been like astronomical. So we doing this on my own, just in the first 2 years that I was doing this, from year one to year two, revenue doubled. In the last year, with having a growth operator on board, it's nearly 5x'd from what I was able to do by myself, literally. It's already gone so far beyond where I had expected I'd be by now that focusing forward from there almost seems like insane because where we are now just seems such a long way away. But I'd say if I had to give an answer on this, it's taking on more people like me, like bringing more people into the business like me, so coaches who can help people so that we can get to all the people out there there's clearly a lot of people out there who want this kind of process, want this kind of help. So we're in a great position there as well, fortunately, and therefore we need to get on other people who can help me fulfill because that's currently, I'd say, probably like the main bottleneck. And that's going to be the thing that allows us to drive to those like multiple six-figure months and hopefully then taking this thing global and getting coaches in different locations around the world as well. That's the next 1 to 2 year goal.
Nice. That's exciting, man. So I
Mm.
actually didn't know this. You guys primarily just focus on the UK right now.
Primarily, yes. And that comes, I think, a lot of from just having a UK audience because I'm UK based and obviously have a British accent. So my content goes out worldwide, but generally speaking, most of the inquiries come in from a UK audience.
Yeah.
Interestingly, when I first started, because I built the audience I initially had on X, in 3 years of posting on there, I had an audience of about 100,000 followers. And because everything was organic and most of the people on Twitter were in the US, actually my client split was like 60-70% US to probably 30-40% UK. And then it's gradually shifted from then shifting over to ads. And then obviously being a UK account, the ads on Facebook get put to UK people. It shifted to 99% UK now.
Yeah, fair enough. It makes sense though. I feel like I don't know how different the systems are in terms of the process.
Yeah, that's the thing is like if you know enough to get like all of the essentials in place, which I did because I was posting to an audience who I knew were mainly US, so I had to learn about it so I could make my content relevant. So I heavily researched like the equivalent accounts of what I was using and like, what I knew people needed to use here out there. And I was also obviously connected with a whole bunch of US based finance creators as well, who I was learning from and like asking questions to if I ever needed to help someone with a specific question. So actually, we were able to get, if anything, like equivalent, if not slightly better outcomes for the people who were US based, mainly because like income generally for the people who were reading my content was really high. So we were able to get like a huge amount of help for them. Also because generally speaking, debt in the US is a bigger problem. So we were able to get people really amazing results with these people who had huge debt loads, getting that debt load down really quickly. So yeah, the systems aren't too different. You just have different names for your accounts and they have slightly different tax advantages. And once you know those, you can pretty much copy and paste. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So it's applicable to regardless where the person is, whether they're in North America or whether in the UK.
Yeah, like I said, by way of just how like the systems we use to get leads work, we've ended up with a predominantly UK client base, but I've helped people in the UK, Ireland, the US. We've had a client in Australia, another client in Guatemala, and yeah, pretty much no matter where they're based, so long as they have an income, the ability to invest via some kind of means, but as in like access to a platform to do that, then we can help.
Cool. And on that note, what is the best way for people to reach out to you guys to work with you?
Best place to reach out would be just via Instagram direct messages. That's like the main flow of like traffic from now, where we spend the majority of our time because that's where most of the growth is happening for us. So yeah, I'd always say just fire over an Instagram DM. We run events, like I say, sometimes every month, not all the time, but often the link for registering for that is in our bio in on Instagram as well. So if they want to learn more and aren't ready to quite maybe speak to one of us yet, sign up for one of those and they'll learn about the system in a lot more detail.
Awesome. And that's FL Savvy, right? Or no, FI Savvy.
So Instagram is Money Coach Joe.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So Money Coach Joe on Instagram, and yeah, follow me on there.
Beautiful. Any final words before we wrap up?
Oh no, nothing from me.
Awesome. Joe, thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. That wraps up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow Money Coach Joe on Instagram, Money Coach Joe on Instagram. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and enhance your sales, enhance your marketing, enhance essentially the back end of your business, visit closers.io to hop on a call with our team and discover how we were able to go from zero to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing.